So, Miss Hart, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good, good. Thank you for joining the podcast. This is Have Conversations That Matter podcast. It's one of my new babies. And as I was telling you before we came on, we talk about things that matter to us, having conversations, things that's going on in the world, things that matter to you, and just encouraging people on that particular subject matter to kind of dive more into that. So I've talked to you before years ago, before you have evolved into the woman you are today. You are already amazing young woman. And and like now you're just even more amazing. Like I know that's not a word, more amazing, but like I'm saying it like together, more amazing is the word. I am so proud of you. And I want you to start, if you can start off telling us just who you are and what's something that you enjoy doing outside of your work. Because I do know you as Dr. Hart, and we'll get into that. But what is something that you enjoy outside of the work?
Name is Germyah Heart. I'm currently a public health practitioner. I reside in Atlanta. I just recently graduated from Morehouse School of Medicine, and a lot of my work deals with um, public health and women's health, maternal and child health, and family and health equity as a whole. But outside of work, I just enjoy dance. Growing up, dance was something that was my scapegoat, if you would say, where I would go to Diva Houston's dance classes and just have fun. It was a sisterhood, something that kind of took my mind away from things, and it just gave me that motivation that I needed to push through. I always knew that my life would not be as easy, just becoming a doctor, so I needed that work life balance, which is very important to have. So even to this day, I still dance. Like I went to dance class yesterday, but I take some classes here in Atlanta just for fun, nothing too crazy. And it's the perfect work life balance, just that physical activity, getting your mind stimulated, and just not being so serious all the time.
Yeah, because as a doctor, you have to be, very focused. But I like that you do have that balance. And that's good. Even at, your age, is still making sure like you're still having fun.
Right. I'm
Yeah,
getting up there in age though.
I know you are, but you're still looking so youthful and you still have that amazing smile and magnetic energy. So, you're in Atlanta. Now tell me how is Atlanta from where you're from? Like what is the differences? And I visited Atlanta, but like for you, how have you made Atlanta your home and, professionally, personally?
Okay, so being from Milwaukee, it obviously everybody has a different perspective. I grew up in a crazy environment, I would say, where my mom she had to do to take care of us. My mom was very educated. She went to college beyond her bachelor studies, and then it was my brother and I. I grew up in Park Lawn, and I spent a lot of my time on the north side of Milwaukee, where it's very high in crime, but it's something that I consider home. So I'll never like downplay my city. I love my city. I rep Milwaukee everywhere I go. Everybody know I'm from Milwaukee. Um, Even if it's over the weekend, the Packers, the Bucks, I make sure everybody know I'm from Milwaukee. And it was just a little different growing up for me. I did have a little different opportunities than most kids in my generation, just because my mom pushed me. So going to those private schools, being enrolled in those additional programs, upper bound programs, having mentors and things of that sort to push me forward. My experience was a little bit different as I got older. Um, I've lived in many places. So now settling here in Atlanta, Atlanta is more of a business venture for me. Everything is business oriented. It's nice because you wake up and the head honchos are Black women, Black men. It's very promising. It's very encouraging. Um, and overall, it's a business lifestyle. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times you hear, "Oh, Atlanta has a lot of traffic. Atlanta has a lot of traffic." It's because I'm convinced this city does not sleep. I'm convinced that everybody has 10 different jobs and
Yeah, it's a
occupations that
lot
they
going on
do.
out there.
Yeah, so it's like you have that traffic rush in the morning for everybody that's going to first shift and maybe getting off of third shift. And then you have random traffic at like 1 o'clock because you have the second shift people going in. And then at nighttime, it kind of calms down a little bit because everybody's respectively in their areas.
Mm-hmm.
But Atlanta is so big. There's so much here to discover and explore. The food, not all of that. I will say that.
Yeah.
But overall for business, if you're in media, if you're in healthcare, if you're in business, this is a really nice place. They have a nice support system and everybody knows everybody here, where it's so simple that, hey, I know this person, I can get you in contact with this person, and networking opportunities are here. And the air is just different. Like when you wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
um, you get up and you're on the highway and it's like you're in traffic, but it's a good feeling because it's like these are also successful people that I'm in traffic with. And they're trying to get to where they need to go. So it's very
Yeah.
refreshing and promising.
That's what I love about Atlanta. I have family that live in Atlanta. I've been to Atlanta, a few times before, and I enjoy it. I remember when I was getting ready to go off to school, and it was my senior year, and Clark, Atlanta was my first choice before Tennessee State, which everyone knows I went to Tennessee State. That is my dream school. But I really wanted to go to Clark at first. I think it was my freshman year in high school. That was like the dream school. And then it kind of shifted. And then I went to Tennessee State, which is, a couple hours, not super far from Atlanta. But I do love the city of Atlanta. I haven't tried the food in a while, so I have to come back down there and check out the food. But yeah, I love what you're doing. I remember when I talked to you and we did our first interview, and you were just, such an ambitious young woman. You already had your mindset on what you wanted to do, how you wanted to do it, where you wanted to go. And I believe at the time you were actually transitioning from Tennessee State to Texas Southern, right?
Yes.
Okay, my memory serves me well. So, yeah, you had it figured out, and you brought up your mentors that you were able to have when you were younger. What does that look like today as a full grown woman who's successful? What does mentorship for you look like today?
It's very complex, I would say that. So even at my point where I'm at in my career, I still have mentors. And I think that a lot of times people get that misconstrued where it's like, okay, I get to where I'm at and then I don't need mentors anymore. Um, my mentors keep me grounded. And you don't have to have a mentor specifically in your occupation or your field of study or field of choice. Your mentor could be just a life coach. It could be someone that may come from the same background as you that can give you life advice. It could be someone that is just as ambitious as you that wants to see you win, that can connect you. Um, it varies. But now that I'm in the role that I'm in my career, I've become a mentor now. So I have little mentees,
Hmm.
and it's like a full circle moment because anybody who genuinely knows me knows that I'm about paying it forward and I'm about being the person that I wish that I had to others. So I think maybe about 4 or 5 mentees. I get a lot of messages
Wow.
and yeah, I get a lot of messages daily. Young girls that want to go into nursing or,
Hmm.
becoming a doctor or a therapist or starting a business. I have a wide spectrum of friends, so I connect people all the time with others. But it's a full circle moment for me to become a mentor because it's like everything that I'm doing is like someone's noticing and they want me to help them get to the next level and
Right.
be that voice of reasoning and keep them grounded. And it's very refreshing and it's very encouraging. To this day, me and my mentors, we're really close. Like we're on a personal phone basis now.
Okay.
I can
Okay.
call and it's like, hey,
Yeah.
quick,
Yeah.
quick question, or hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Recently, my mentor here in Atlanta, he got recognized by the city of, and so he got a day dedicated to him just for his work that he does in the community with the youth. And then obviously, I speak about her all the time. My mentor, Dr. Godley. She's also a Milwaukee native. She's OBGYN in Texas. And she's always there. Like
Mm.
I can call her any day, anytime. She answers, she gives me life advice, sisterly advice, woman advice, advice on my career. And I literally, before I'm about to make a big decision, I'll call her like, Stacy, I'm having a meltdown. And she's like, dude, you got this. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So just having that reassurance. But she took me in as her mentee. She barely knew me. She groomed me really well. And, I'm very excited and proud that, I have her as my mentor. So just paying it
Yeah.
forward, it's very refreshing.
Yeah. That's amazing. You said 4 to 5 mentors. Okay, look at mentees. Look at you. Look
And
at you. What are some of the tips? And what were you going to say?
they all vary. So they're not all in like medical. So I have a mentee, she's an accountant, she's really young. That she's into that. I have two in public health, and then I have one, she's a nurse. She's a nurse now. She literally just graduated in the fall,
Nice.
like last month. So definitely a wide range.
Yeah, I love the diversity. What are some of the tips Dr. Hart is sharing with her mentees? Give us a little insight. What is
um,
something that you are often telling your mentees?
Let them think big. Think big is the biggest thing that anybody can take away from me because I'm a big thinker. And when I say think big, it's like, okay, I want to start a business. Okay, but what else? I'm asking you those questions that probably you didn't think of yet, or you probably didn't factor into your plan that makes you go back and reroute. Um, Sometimes I can be a little bit hard on my mentees, but it's just I want the best for them. And I think the biggest thing is when you have someone associated or pushing you with a big name that has a reputation for being successful and being stellar in what they're doing, you have to. Because if you're going out there and telling people I'm your mentor,
Right. Yeah. Like
performance
you're
needs to
representing
be,
me.
yeah, you are a direct representation of me,
Yeah.
and your work needs to reflect that. So I always tell them to think big. Also, I always tell them as well that you have time. And a lot of people see that I'm a consistent person with posting on the things that I'm doing. Like every month, I think I'm posting something that I'm doing. And they see the success at a rapid pace, but they don't understand that the work that goes into it behind closed doors. This may be something I worked on for 6 months straight, but it's coming in
Yes. Say that
February.
again.
You know,
Yes.
but they think like, oh, she just did something January, she just did something February and March. But in reality, I've worked on this for 6 months and now I'm reaping the benefits of it. And it just so happened to fall in this way. And I'm ready to share something with you. So I always tell my mentees to, you have time, perfect your craft, and also be private with your success. Because I think with social media right now, it's a platform where everybody wants to, get ready with me and come spend a day with me. And, content creating is really big. But sometimes some of those goals and the things you're working on should be kept private. I'm a praying woman. My grandma prays for me. My mom prays for me. My dad prays for me. I come from a very faithful family where God has the final say so in everything that I do. And I allow Him to
Yes.
lead me and walk me through faith and merit and grace. And I'm a person where I believe in keeping it to yourself until it's done. So I
Yes.
always tell them, stop getting on the internet asking, should you do this? Should you do that? Stop getting on the internet asking people, if I do this, will you support me? We working in the back and we pushing it and we pushing it. And when it's time for it to be revealed, it'll be revealed and it's a hit. And ever since then, it's so funny because when I see them post and stuff like that, they'll send it to me like, here's my caption, here's my pictures. You think this fine in this order? It's like getting my approval, and it's so nice because it's like I was the same way. Like I
Okay.
used to reach out, like, okay, Stacey, how my hair look? How's this caption? Should I put this? Should I put that? Is this too much? So it's really nice because you get to see your imprint of you paying it forward, and then hopefully one day they'll pay it forward to the people to come after them.
Yes, I love all of that you just said, because you would think, and people would assume because of your generation that you feel that you have to give your all in order to prove what you're doing. And I like that you were like, no, like, I'm going to build and build and build. And then you may see the final result, but understand that I don't have to give you all in the process. And then it's not knocking anybody, that choose to share the process. But I think it's important, specifically for people in your generation to like hear that, to be like, okay, like, let me take my time. Let me not be so anxious and share everything I'm doing at every moment. Get ready with me while I do this. I'm brushing my teeth, going here, going there, because that is the culture that we live in. And it could be funny, it could be cool, but it some of it can be a little too much, and it takes away from the mystery of who we are and what we bring to the world. So I love that about you.
Agree. Thank you. Also, it's just so important to keep certain things to yourself because you want to have that privacy about yourself. If everybody knows what you're doing, then how effective is the work that you're doing? And
You sure
also
gems.
also I look at it too on a spectrum where my life is trial and error.
Mhm.
But to the public eye, they might feel like I'm perfect. Everything I touch turns to gold. It's a hit every month, which it is. But I have a lot of trials and tribulations that I go through behind closed doors. I'm very real. Okay. What you see is what you get with me. I will never change who I am or forget where I came from on any day. And anybody who's worked with me will tell you that. But also there's a time and place for certain things as well. But going back to my point of being in a trial and error, everything that I do may not be a hit initially, you know,
Mhm.
and that's why my life is not on the internet. Only what I allow people to see is on the internet because in the social media world, everybody has to be perfect. You have to have this nice car, you have to have this nice house, you have to have these clothes and these shoes and this brand, and otherwise you're considered behind in life. And I think that leads to a lot of my generation where they're depressed and they're feeling like they're not doing enough, or they feel like they're missing their mark. But my life is a lot of trial and error. That's why I really don't do the whole get ready with me and let me explain this to you um, lifestyle, because I don't have a set structure on how I do certain things. Sometimes it's like, okay, I wake up, I want to try this today, so I'm gonna try it and see how it works for me. Okay, it's not working after set amount of days. Let's go back to the drawing board and let's do this. So and I also don't encourage people to just get on the internet saying what they're doing, because in the event that you fail, which it happens, and it happens to the best of us, but in the event that you fail, now your mindset, you have to prove a point of what you said you were going to do. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're not successful or you didn't fulfill what you set out to do. When in reality, as you grow as a professional, as an individual, you're going to change. and it's not a bad thing to change. Your goals that when you were 20 may not be your goals now that you're 25 or 26 now, because you've experienced a little bit more life. You got exposed to different fields and scopes of work, and you might have changed. But sometimes a lot of our generation is just so stuck on what they said that they were going to do that they feel like I have to fulfill that, and they're not happy in what they're doing. It may make you a lot of money, but you're not happy, in this industry because this is not something you truly want to do. So that's another thing I tell my mentees as well. You have to be passionate about this work.
Yeah.
Wherever industry that you're in, you have to be passionate and understand that you will make the money.
Yeah.
As long as you are doing what you need to do, you will make the money.
Because
However,
the doctor sounds real cool. It sounds nice.
it does.
The money is attached to it. But as you were saying, and you're continuing to say, you have to really be passionate about it.
You have to be, because anything can happen. Like COVID hit and you're essential, but you hate your job, but you're seeing high volume of patients. You have a misunderstanding or a disconnect between your other colleagues, on a daily, because everybody's stressed out. Can you handle it? Are you built for it? And sometimes if you're not, it's okay. If you find something else that you enjoy doing, go with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But I think a lot of times people have this mindset that the title makes the person. Where if you ask somebody, who are you? And the first thing they say is, oh, this is my job. This is what I do. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm an engineer. When in reality, when you're asked who you are, it's within. I'm a wife. I'm a daughter. I'm a student. I'm a dancer. I'm a gardener. But some people don't feel fulfilled if they don't have that title. I have friends on all different spectrums. I have friends that are entrepreneurs that didn't go to college and they're very successful. And I have friends that are in those spaces as social workers and lawyers and nurses and doctors, where they may be a little bit different, but your title doesn't make you. And I think oftentimes our generation as well, they chase after the title and the money instead of the passion has to align with your personal values, your beliefs. Because realistically, the higher you get up in certain positions, you have more decision making and you have more power, yes. But sometimes you're put in positions that you don't realize what you're getting yourself into. And it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be firing nobody. I don't want to be a part of nobody's livelihood. I'm just here to save lives. So get somebody else to do it. I don't want to do it.
Right. The term, get somebody else to do it. Miss Hart, Dr. Hart, Germyah, I am so proud of you. Everything that you had just said, it just makes my heart smile. I could just shed a tear because we all need to hear that. And I know you were like speaking to your generation, but all of us need to hear it because we are in this fast-paced world where it needs to happen like this. And I have to have a brand. I have to do this. I have to do that. Your brand, for one, is really you, your personal brand, you as the individual before anything is attached to you. How do you want to show up in the world? And that just warms my heart. Like I could just shed a tear. I really can, because you don't hear that often from your generation. And it is a reminder that there are still amazing people in your generation and in the world. Because I don't want to just say and focus just on your generation, but in the world, who believes that, yes, I don't have to prove this in order to get that. And I am okay whether I'm a doctor or whether I'm not a doctor. What I want to touch on lastly is what matters to you. I know developing people, mentoring people. We talked about that. What matters to you. But what is a topic that we can take away, that we say, you know what, Dr. Hart, this is the matter of her heart.
I like what you did there. I like that. I'm very big on education. I'm going to push whoever around me to get educated. If you have a bachelor's, I'm telling you, okay, let's look at the master's. If you have a master's, let's look at the doctoral options. Let's look at the greater scheme of being educated. It can just even going back to get a certification in your industry. I have some friends in IT, and I'm like, okay, have you thought about cybersecurity? Have you thought about this? Like, if I see anything on TikTok or the
Yeah,
internet, I'm
taking
sending
it
it.
up a notch.
Yeah, I'm sending it to my friends because take it up a notch. What are we doing here?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a very big advocate for education. Specifically to me being a two-time HBCU graduate, I'm very strong-willed about HBCU education. And I love that more people are turning to HBCUs, not just for the culture's sake, but for education. A lot of HBCUs are expanding where we're getting more dental schools, we're getting more PA programs, we're getting more law schools and medical schools and respiratory therapy schools. So those spaces where they're lacking diversity, the HBCUs are utilizing their funding to make sure that students that are Black and brown get those opportunities that they may not have been awarded. And it's so important now to, I won't get too political, but even with them taking away affirmative action
Mm-hmm.
recently, where it's like, okay, how does this affect us as Black and brown people? Perfect. We have HBCUs. There are 109 HBCUs. Pick one. I don't care where you live. I don't care
Yes,
where you
pick
go.
one.
Pick one. Make sure they have your program. If they don't have your program, one of them do. And I'm a very big believer of being educated. I feel like to get in those spaces and to knock down those barriers, you have to be educated. Because even if you look at some of these careers, look at the job description, right? They sometimes are set up to you have to be educated, where it's not just experience. They have a preferred qualifications and then they have a required, requirements.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at those preferred, and it's like, okay, we prefer you to have a master's degree with 10 years experience, but we're requiring you to have a bachelor's. And then
Mm-hmm.
get in these spaces where it's like, okay, I only have my high school diploma, or I only have an associate's degree, but I have 10 years experience. Like, do I apply? Do I not? It's always better to be overqualified than underqualified. So if you're
Yes.
for a position and it's like, okay, you need a bachelor's, okay, I got a master's and I have this amount of experience, which is double. Okay, you're built for the job. You get your interviews. Okay, now it's time to negotiate that salary, because the end goal for most people, whether they want to say it or not, is to get paid. You want to.
Talk about it and walk us through that process. Yes.
Yes, like no matter, you can have your passion in something true, but the end goal is to get paid, especially if you're doing higher education and you're taking out loans or you want to see your return investment. Why did I just spend 8 years in school? I need my money, and you are only competitive with education. Experience is there, but with education, you have a more solid background and a solid foundation, because although you do have that experience, that's really well, but they're looking to be educated, because the reality of it, a lot of these jobs, they don't want to train anymore. They want you to come in and you're supposed to know, A to Z, and they only gonna show you around the building and they gonna show you your office and show you what to do, and they're gonna expect you to do it. They're not explaining to you, okay, we're gonna have a training set on this. Your training is more so computer based. People just click through stuff, being realistic. People just clicking through it and they do their high nine paperwork, and then it's you getting thrown
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
wolves.
You're
So
not getting walked through the process.
exactly. So that education aspect, it also keeps you competitive, but it also keeps you on your point and on your toes, essentially. Because if you look at a lot of the people that are kind of rotating out of those higher level positions from older generations, they only have bachelor's degrees, you know, and some of them barely had that, depending on, you know, their stipulations. So now with our generation having those master's degrees and having those doctoral degrees, we're in those spaces now where we're more than capable of being in those positions where you feel comfortable. You should apply with confidence, you know, and know that, okay, I worked for this, I have the education, I may need a little bit more training, but I have the eagerness to learn. And as long as you continue to be a student of the game, you'll always win.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming on Have Conversations That Matter.